Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the October 27th, 2025 Board of Police Commissioners meeting. I call the meeting to order and kindly ask that everyone rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll begin with acceptance of the minutes from the September 16th, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in, we're allowed tonight. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next up, we have public comment. Would anyone care to speak tonight? Come on up. Could you kindly just identify yourself and where you live?
Yes, I'm Kathleen Slover. I live at 346 Richards Ave. And a couple months ago, there were a lot of people talking about ICE operations and Portsmouth Police supporting that. And I'm a big one on that. If you're going to squawk, you got to follow up. So I just wanted to say that I want to thank Portsmouth Police for keeping us safe and that we continue to work together with the community as these ICE operations go in and out of our city. I also want to take the opportunity to, on the Moms Demand Action side, Moms Demand Action is a gun violence prevention group here in New Hampshire, and I had the privilege of going to coffee with a cop, and I was able to commandeer one of your officers for like an hour about 988 Lifeline, which is funded here in New Hampshire for about 2 years, but the state legislature did not come up with a permanent funding solution. So our group is working on making sure that happens at the state, because we, especially talking to law enforcement, know how important it is that 911 and 988 work together. It was really great talking to the officer about how important it was and how important it is for our group to spread the word among the community when to call 988, and that's an option. I hope to work further with local law enforcement about even out-of-home storage. If there's a crisis, call 988, but if you feel like there's an impending crisis and you know there are firearms in the home, talk to law enforcement and maybe they can help remove those firearms. We are still working on that program and how we can get our communities to work with local law enforcement to keep our families and kids safe from firearms. So I just wanted to say that and say thank you for allowing me to continue this work, and hopefully we can spread it throughout the state. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. I know we typically don't respond to public comment, but I think it's worth mentioning how much we've seen the value of 988 as a resource for people in crisis, and to the extent, and again, we're aware of sort of those funding challenges for that. So I just want to say thank you for all your efforts to maintain a funding source for 988, because we have seen, and right here, we have sat here and talked about the value of 988 as a resource, so that we're diverting people in mental health crisis to mental health resources rather than, continuing or, funneling them through the criminal justice system. So. And I think the police department has been at the forefront of that and we had some trainings and education about it at the onset when it started 2 years ago. We were all part of that. So
Yeah, just to follow up on that, the combination of 988, mobile crisis units, us hiring a social worker a year and a half ago, the combination of those things has really been some great strides taken by the police department in doing exactly what you described, having a variety of responses to people in mental health crisis.
And I just think it's worth saying thank you to those members of the community like yourself who are making efforts to make sure that the community has, and the police department has, another resource for people in mental health crisis. Okay. Any other public comment? I don't see anyone. We'll move right on to new business. First, we have, for the Police Commission, we have the facilities update, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Commissioner Schur, for the Municipal Building Blue Ribbon Committee update.
At our last meeting, we were able to decide to move on from talking about the space needs of the police department, which we locked in at a certain size, to now doing interviews and research into the space needs of those in the city complex that are not police department. And the goal of the Blue Ribbon Commission has always been to see if there is a way that we can combine the building that the police department is in that also houses city services. If we can combine those so that we can save money on the police department building, that remains to be seen, but I don't expect that we're going to get a cost estimate for any new configuration until sometime in January or February.
Great, thank you, Commissioner. And do you have anything else to add? Okay, next we have the dispatch center mold remediation, and Chief, can you give us an update on that process?
Yeah, we're still working through it. We've been working with the fire department and members from the DPW to make sure that Station 2, our remedial dispatch center out there, is being brought up to speed to handle our dispatching for the time that will be moved over there while our center is being renovated. And we're still shooting for our timeline of beginning of 2026 in January to start that project.
Great, thank you. Okay, moving on to community priorities. We maybe provide everyone with an update on the CAT RMS system.
Yeah. So we are currently in our second phase of training on the Central Square training, and our go live expected date is next Tuesday. So that'll be a big day in the police department.
Have you guys, I know the Rockingham County Sheriff's Department has implemented a similar CAT RMS system. Maybe, I'm sure
Yes,
you've been in touch.
we've been in contact with them
about
and
some of the,
been assisting us, and we've been working along with the state as well, because there are some things the state and Central Square are still working on, but our go live date, we're hoping that all of the different parts of Central Square will be activated and be ready to go for us.
great.
Just so people understand that one of the great values of the CAT RMS system is that the police department will be able to measure more deeply what the police are doing and what their accomplishments are with a more robust body of data, and we expect that's going to be a very positive development.
Absolutely. And a lot of the delays have been tied to this one J1 module that has been hamstrung, I think, or not exclusively, but a large part of the implementation. But I'm thrilled to see it moving forward. And so we talk about all of the community priorities, and so many of those community priorities tied to data and tracking are embedded in establishing this CAT RMS system. So this is really going to be an opportunity forthwith to start collecting that data now that we're finally at the go live date and approaching so shortly.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the last of the community priorities. We have completed them all in the last 4 years.
Excellent. Okay, moving on to Chief of Police reports. Chief, turn it to you.
All right, we'll start with donations. We had a donation fundraiser at Texas Roadhouse for the Police Explorers program. A check is also, well, this says Texas Roadhouse, but the check in the amount of $687.50 from Flatbread Portsmouth was donated to the Police Explorers program. Basically, they agreed to give some of their proceeds for the day over to the Explorers program. And this Explorers were there to help participate.
Great.
Okay, I will make a motion that we accept the donation of $687.50 from Flatbread Portsmouth for the Portsmouth Police Explorers Program and forward to the City Council for their action.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
3-0.
The second donation, this was a kind of a unique situation. It was a cash amount of $100 from an anonymous passerby. One of our officers was in the square, our parking police area, and a citizen walked up and thanked him for the service that we do and handed him a $100 bill in cash, which, our officers were not allowed to take, but the passerby refused to accept that and crumpled the money up into a napkin and put it inside the window of the cruiser, and it just walked away. So we took it as a donation to be accepted by the police commission.
Wonderful.
All right, then I will make a motion to accept the cash donation of $100 from an anonymous passerby for the Portsmouth Police Department and forward to the City Council for their action.
I'll second that. All those, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. All right. Deputy Chief, do you want to take away the crime analyst report?
Certainly. Overall, calls for service, and again, this is averaging first 6 months of the year, in the average from the last 3 years to 2025. Overall, calls for service are down 7% to 30,410. The number of arrests we have is up 1% from 701 to 708 arrests. The number of DWI arrests we've made are up almost 10% to 75 from 69. Total police reports is down 10% to 1,691. Reportable motor vehicle crashes are down 339 from 370. Motor vehicle stops or offenses is also down 13% to 5,444. Involuntary emergency admissions are up 9.3% at 47 compared to 43 over the last 3-year average. And juvenile matter-related calls are down 25% at 101 from 135.
Thank you. There's what appears to be both some good news and some bad news in these statistics, right? I think it's in terms of, although a lot of the numbers are largely similar, I think some of the reduction in motor vehicle stops and things of that nature are tied to our staffing challenges. But also there's some good news in that, when we see that there are, although the increase in IEAs and decrease in calls for service, it does lend itself to a suggestion that we are getting people to the right place, which is getting mental health services. Does anybody else have any comments on this? Okay. We can move on to the traffic statistics.
Sure, and more specifically for the month of September, we conducted 564 motor vehicle stops. We issued 20 summonses, and there were 36 reportable motor vehicle crashes.
Thank you.
I apologize to the Deputy Chief. I don't have any questions for him.
Oh, disappointed.
All right, we'll move on to the financial report. Karen, would you like to update us?
Sure. We're 23% through the fiscal year as of September 30th, and we're currently tracking at basically 21%, so approximately 2% below the cap for this period. What I'm going to do probably for the next meeting is I'm working on a spreadsheet to show, because we do have some vacancies and that causes overtime. So I'm going to do a spreadsheet that'll show you the salary and benefit savings from the vacancies versus the overage and the overtime, because we have to backfill with overtime. And that way we can see just on a plain quick sheet how that's looking. So I'll have that for you for next time. As stated last time, we're in the early phases of FY27 budget season. The CIP is completed and submitted, the rolling stock is completed and submitted, and I'm working on the salary benefit sheet, which comprises 84% of our budget. So before we can jump off, we have to have that done. One of the things we're going to be seeking next fiscal year is a social worker, the second one, hopefully paid through grant funds, which brings me down to the grants. We just completed an application that we submitted to the Deputy Finance Director. He's compiling several grants, city grants, to go to the state for the opioid settlement for the pharmaceutical companies. So we're trying to get funding that way to pay at least 3 years for the social worker. And they would be concentrated on opioid-related issues. The $1.3 million ICAC Forensic Shield grant should be approved by the New Hampshire Executive Council this week, so we should have access to those funds. They were going to try and get them retroactive back to October 1st. If not, it'll be October 29th. With the government shutdown, we have not received the grant to complete for our regular ICAC funding. We have enough funds to get us through December, so hopefully the shutdown will be over then. But our grant manager said that once we do complete it and it goes in, it'll be retroactive to October 1st. The Bulletproof Vest grant, we just got the application and it's due mid-December for next fiscal year. So those are the grants. Strategic plan's finally done. It'll be posted tomorrow on the website, and the chief's just going to go over a few of the highlights from that, and then we'll start on the next one.
Great.
All right.
Chief?
So this is our strategic plan. It's kind of our roadmap of where we plan to go in the future. And, you know, we've had one for the last 5 years. This is continuing forward in the next 5 years. I'll start with what we've accomplished on the past strategic plan. Here's a list of all the things we've done. Some of the things that stand out is the community-oriented policing and National Guard awards that the department has received for outstanding community service. We did restart Citizens Police Academy, and one of the other big accomplishments on there is the hiring of a social worker, which we have mentioned several times. On the admin side, we've been working hard on a new police facility. We got past phase 1, which was looking at different sites. The location has been here on the campus, and now we're in phase 2 on trying to refine what a building could look like here on this campus. Again, grants that Karen just mentioned, we've received several grants to help offset, tax dollars to be able to fund a lot of programs and initiatives and equipment for the police department. Our professional standards division, this is where we run Clear out of for the most part. Some things moving forward that we are working on to complete is the IACP Trust Building Campaign. It's a national campaign put on by IACP, which is the International Association of the Chiefs of Police, which me and the deputy just returned from their national conference. And part of there was talking about the importance of building trust in your communities. So we're working on that initiative, and again, continuing through Clear, and we are also about ready to go through the process with the New Hampshire State accreditation. Personnel Training Division, this has been one of the busiest divisions in our department for the last 4 years. We've been having challenges with hiring and retaining officers and also dispatchers, so they're continuing to push through that. One of the in the staffing study that was done, one position that was noted that would be in need in the future is a second training officer. So that's in our strategic plan. And another thing we're doing is preparing for a large scale, like active shooter or a critical incident. And we'll be working on that at Pease at the airport in the upcoming year. IT, as we just stated, with the new CAT RMS system coming on, this has been in the making for the last few years. It's finally coming to fruition. So hopefully next week when we turn that switch, we'll be all progressively moving forward. I'm sure there's going to be a few bumps in the road, but we'll get through it, and we're looking forward to taking that next step as IMC is, holding together by Band-Aids. So.
And there's no longer any updates, software updates, right? It's like,
Correct.
it's
Yeah,
completely sunset.
It's almost set. So couldn't have come at a better time. As far as patrol goes, again, emphasizing the community-oriented policing. In the upcoming years, we're going to have to look at replacing one of our canines. Frankie's starting to get to the end of his tenure, so we'll be looking to replace him, and he's a bomb certified dog, so that's a big loss that we'd have. So we're trying to plan ahead and look at getting another dog and get him trained up while Frankie's still able to function. So that'll be something we're looking forward to do in the very near future. Communication system is dispatch, which we've said we're going to remediate that area, and when we rebuild the dispatch center here, try to make it, improve some of the technology there and make it more efficient for the users in there, and also help us accommodate the space to make it more of a better working environment. Investigations of detectives. We working on promote a detective. We had a detective's promotion today. We're working on succession planning, and again, we have a social worker there. And moving in the future, we'll be looking to add a second social worker to deal with some of the community concerns with outreach with the homeless or unhoused, and some of the youth problems and drug problems that current social worker doesn't have the time to get to in her current role now. That's just an overview of what our strategic plan is and how our plans are moving forward.
Thank you, Chief. Anybody have any comments? All right, in our packs, we had a patrol update, court office report, new business, any other business to discuss? Do you have anything?
I don't.
Okay. I just wanted to mention, it's like, hot off the press, trick-or-treating is now going to be Wednesday, 5 to 8. So please, anyone watching this who doesn't get the memo, just, be mindful. There's going to be a lot of kids in the drive slowly, your public service announcement. And we have obviously the parade on Friday, which is a great community event. But it's easy to take for granted how much the officers do to keep us safe and to be a presence in so many community events. And whether it was the Seacoast Half Marathon, all the events in the community on Sunday morning, or, Touch a Truck, or all the, the protests, and ever present is our police department, who are making sure our community gets to have all these events and participate in them safely. So that's just a thank you from, I think, the commission,
Everybody.
and the small thanks for, the sort of both visible and invisible efforts from the police department. And our next regular meeting is Tuesday, November 18th, but always check the city calendar. And with that, we need one final motion.
I move to adjourn.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.